Okay, good morning students and welcome to the today's lecture. On the basis of magnetic properties, we can classify the substances into three different categories. One is the diamagnetic substance, second is paramagnetic substance, and third one is the ferromagnetic substance. In the previous lecture, we have seen about the diamagnetic substances and paramagnetic substance. Diamagnetic substance is the substance which will get repelled by the magnet. Paramagnetic substance will get weakly attracted towards the magnet. While now we are going to discuss about the ferromagnetic substance which will get strongly attracted towards the magnet. They will get strongly attracted to the magnet. So those materials are called ferromagnetic materials. Now what is the actual difference in the construction of the ferromagnetic substance? If you look at the properties of the ferromagnetic substance, then ferromagnetic substance are used for making permanent magnets. So to make a permanent magnet, we use the ferromagnetic substance. Then what is the susceptibility? So what are the properties of ferromagnetic substance? So the first property is they will get strongly attracted to the magnet. Second, they are used to make permanent magnets. They are used to make permanent magnets. Then, what is the susceptibility? The magnetic susceptibility. The magnetic susceptibility, that is a chi. The magnetic susceptibility for diamagnetic substance is small and negative. For paramagnetic substance is small and positive. Similarly, the magnetic susceptibility for ferromagnetic substance is, so this is an important question for the MCQ questions. So it is large and positive for ferromagnetic substance. If you look at the examples, what are the examples of the iron, nickel, cobalt? If you look at the examples of the ferromagnetic substance, then what examples we have? We have the examples of iron, nickel, cobalt, cadmium, gadolinium, dysprosium, and their alloys. Iron, nickel, cobalt. So these are the good examples. Iron, nickel, cobalt, and dysprosium and their alloys. These are the examples of the ferromagnetic substance. So understood what is the ferromagnetic substance? That substance which will get strongly attracted to the magnet. These are used to make permanent magnets. Magnetic susceptibility is large and positive, and examples iron, nickel, cobalt, and dysprosium. If you look at in case of suppose this is the ferromagnetic substance, there are magnetic dipoles which are present, which are randomly oriented. When you apply the strong magnetic field, then these dipoles will get aligned in the direction of the external magnetic field. But what happens on the removal of the external magnetic field? In case of a paramagnetic substance, we have seen that in case of a paramagnetic substance, removal of external magnetic field, the dipoles will get aligned randomly as they are in the previous case or before applying the magnetic field. Now, in case of a ferromagnetic substance, if you are applying the strong magnetic field, then all dipoles will get aligned into the direction of the external magnetic field, And very important one is on the removal of external magnetic field, the dipoles does not loses their alignment. So magnet or the substance do not lose its magnetic properties on removal of external magnetic field. So we can say that this substance is permanently converted into the magnet. So this is the main difference between the other substances and the ferromagnetic substances. On the removal of external magnetic field, they do not again becomes as it is as they are before, but they permanently converted into the magnets. So this is the important property of the ferromagnetic substance. Now we are going to discuss about one important question from this chapter. That question is the domain theory for ferromagnetic substance. What is the domain theory? This is one of the important question from this chapter. Domain theory for ferromagnetic substance. What is the domain? A small region present in the ferromagnetic substance is called domain. Small regions in ferromagnetic substance are called domain. The size of the domain. What is the domain? Domain is a small region in ferromagnetic substance. What about size? The size is about 1 millimeter. So very small size is there. So one domain is about just a 1 millimeter size. How many atoms are confined in the one domain? So the number of atoms which are confined in the one domain is about 10 raised to 11 atoms. So the number of atoms is very huge. The number of atoms which are present in one domain is very huge. It is about 10 raised to 11 atoms in one domain. So the domains in one ferromagnetic material is n number of domains. So what is the shape of the domain? The shape of the domain is around irregular shape. So we are not sure about any particular shape of the domain. We cannot say these are triangular, they are square, nothing. We cannot say about the shape of the domain because the shape of the domain is about irregular shape. So this is about the domain. This theory was proposed by the scientist Weiss. Small regions in ferromagnetic substances are called domain. The size of the domain is about 1 millimeter. The number of atoms present in one domain is about 10 raised to 11 atoms, and the shape of the domain is around the irregular shape. So I am going to consider one example of the domain. If you consider one small ferromagnetic substance, suppose this is a ferromagnetic substance. So actually the shape of the domain is irregular shape, but for our convenience we are taking the shape of the domain is like a triangular shape. Suppose this material contains 4 domains. Where are the 4 domains? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we are showing that the shape of the domain is like a triangle, but actually they are irregular shape. So in one domain there are multiple numbers of alignment of the dipoles. There are number of dipoles are present. In one particular domain, if you are looking the alignment of the dipoles, then the dipoles are aligned in one direction. In one dipole, in one domain, all the dipoles are aligned in one direction. But if you are look at the neighboring dipole, then what will happen? In neighboring dipole, maybe the alignment is different from the first domain, but all dipoles are present in one domain are aligned in one direction. So to the adjacent or neighboring domain, the dipoles may be aligned in different direction, but in one domain they align in only one direction. So I'll take one example where all dipoles are aligned in such a way. So they have a unity in their domain only. All dipoles have a unity in their particular domain only. If you are looking at the adjacent or neighboring dipole, then the dipole alignment is different. So this is the nature of the domain structure. In one domain, all dipoles are aligned in one direction, but in adjacent they are not aligned in one particular direction. This is when before applying the magnetic field, we can see this is a ferromagnetic substance. When the magnetic field external is 0, when the external magnetic field is 0. Now suppose if you are applying weak magnetic field, if you are applying the magnetic field but it is weak magnetic field, what happens? These domain walls, what we call, these are the walls of the domains. These domains walls try to align in the direction of the external magnetic field. All dipoles or all domains are trying to align into the direction of the external magnetic field. If you look at the second example, those are already aligned, they are already in the same direction of the magnetic field. But what about the others? The others dipoles are also try to align their dipoles in the direction of the external magnetic field. So how can you draw the nature of this? So we can draw the nature of this as a, so not they are exactly aligned by using the weak magnetic field, but they are trying to align into the direction. How can you draw this? So they are trying to align in the direction of the external magnetic. So we can draw the nature of the domain structure when we apply the external magnetic field in such a way that all dipoles or all domain walls are trying to align in the direction of the external magnetic field. Now what will happen if you are applying the strong magnetic field across this dipole, across the ferromagnetic material? If you are applying a strong magnetic field, then in that case what will happen? Now the magnetic field is strong. If the magnetic field is strong, then domain structure vanishes. Domain structure will get destroyed and all the dipoles present in all domains will align in only one direction. Now there is no domain structure is present. There is no any type of the domain structure is present. That domain structure will get destroyed in the presence of the strong external magnetic field, and all dipoles present in the domains will get aligned in only the direction of the external magnetic field. So this is the nature when we are applying the strong magnetic field. Now what will happen if you are removing the external magnetic field, strong magnetic field? On the removal of strong magnetic field, the dipoles are permanently aligned in the direction of the magnetic field. On the removal of the external magnetic field, the ferromagnetic substance do not lose its magnetism, and we can say that this substance is permanently converted as a magnet. So this is called domain theory for ferromagnetic substance. Okay, now the next topic is what is the effect of temperature on ferromagnetic substance. So this is called ferromagnetic substance, which are used to make the permanent magnets. Those are used to make the permanent magnets. Now what will happen if you are increasing the temperature of the ferromagnetic substance? If you are heating the ferromagnetic substance, then what will happen with the magnetism of the ferromagnetic substance? So this is the next topic. The topic is what is the effect of temperature on magnetism. What is the effect of temperature? If you look at the increasing temperature, the domain structure will get destroyed and ferromagnetic substance starts losing its properties. If you look at the example, how is the domain nature? Suppose this is a ferromagnetic material. These ferromagnetic material have number of domains. In one domain, all the dipoles are aligned in the one direction, but they are aligned for adjacent domain in different direction. What happens if you are hitting this domain, this ferromagnetic substance? On hitting the ferromagnetic substance, the domain structure will get destroyed. The domain structure will get destroyed, and this ferromagnetic substance start losing its magnetism. Ferromagnetic substance starts losing its magnetism, and at one particular temperature, the magnetism becomes zero. That temperature is called Curie temperature. What is a Curie temperature? The temperature at which, the high temperature at which the ferromagnetic substance loses its magnetism completely, that temperature is called Curie temperature, and it becomes a normal substance on losing of properties. So now what is the use of the increasing temperature? The heat which is provided to the ferromagnetic substance is used to break the domain structure, used to break the bond between the atoms, and due to that they start losing their magnetism, and at Curie temperature the magnetic properties of the ferromagnetic substance become zero. So we have given some examples of the Curie temperature. For example, cobalt, what is the temperature? 1394 degrees Celsius. At 1394, actually it is not in degrees Celsius, it is Kelvin. At 1394, cobalt loses its complete magnetism and it becomes normal substance. So this is a Curie temperature. If you take the example of the iron, it is 1093 Kelvin. At that temperature, iron also becomes a normal substance and loses its magnetism completely. So these are the few examples of the Curie temperature for ferromagnetic substance. So how is the nature of the temperature with the ferromagnetic substance? Then on heating or increasing the temperature, the ferromagnetic substance loses their magnetism. Now after this, we are going to discuss about some numerical. We are going to discuss about one numerical from the current chapter. I'll take one example. I'll take one numerical from this chapter. So what is the numerical is? Okay, what is the numerical? A circular coil of 300 turns. So this is about the theoretical part from this chapter. So we are already done with the theory of the chapter. Now we are going to discuss about some numericals in this chapter. A circular coil of 300 turns. A circular coil of 300 turns produces turns and diameter 14 centimeter carries, and diameter 14 centimeter carries a current of 15 ampere. A current of 15 ampere. What is the magnitude of magnetic moment associated with the coil? What is the magnitude of magnetic moment associated with coil. So this is the question we can solve on the basis of the magnetic moment. So what are the given terms? Here, number of turns are given as 300 turns. Diameter is given 14 centimeter. So what about the radius? The radius is half of the diameter. So it should be 7 centimeter. Now the value is given in centimeter. How would you convert the value into the meter? So multiply the 7 by 10 raised to minus 2. So it becomes meter. Carries a current of, the value of I is given. It is 15 ampere. What is the magnetic moment? Capital M? Question mark. So what is the formula for magnetic moment? The formula is magnetic moment is given by NIA. In terms of the coil, the magnetic moment is NIA. In terms of the magnetic moment is M dot 2L. But here it is a coil, so we should consider the formula NIA. If you put the values of the formula, then how can you change the formula? Ni, what is the area of the coil? In terms of the area of the coil, we should consider the cross-sectional area of the wire, that is a pi r square is the area of the coil. So put the values, what will happen? N, what is the N? 300 into what is the I? 15 into 3.14 into 7 into 10 raised to minus 2 bracket square. If you solve this, then what will be the answer? Finally we can derive. The answer of the question will be 69.28. 69.28. What is the unit of magnetic moment? It is ampere meter square. So the answer is 69.28 ampere meter square. So we have the value of magnetic moment from this question is 69.28 ampere meter square. So this is about the numerical where the some values are given. So while solving the numerical, the very important one is write down the given values, make changes into the given values, means they convert the values into the SI units, and think about the formula. Then we have a particular formula